Welcome back, everyone, to These Are Rough Times, the series on Rafchild Records YouTube channel where I talk about all kinds of things about the label and heavy metal. And today I want to talk about failure because I've been listening to Paul Bearer all day and other reasons. So let's talk about how I fuck up. Cheers. So yeah, as I said, the last time we talked a bit about what happened with the label this year and what's gonna happen with the label this year, like for the rest of the year, and looked a bit into what's gonna happen maybe next year. And there's some things going to happen that I can't reveal yet, but I'm really looking forward to all of that stuff. Anyway, today I want to talk about what I did wrong so far, because there's a lot that I could have done better since starting the label. I've said that before. The problem is there's no how-to. You cannot learn how to, you can learn how to run a label, obviously, but there's no book you can read or grandiose YouTube tutorials or something like that. There just isn't. And I guess one of the reasons why this is the case is that no one really knows. I mean, obviously the big, people figure it out after a while, but there's so much happening right now, or happened in the last decade or maybe 20 years with the rise of the internet and digital marketing and whatnot, that a lot of people are still figuring it out. There is no one true way to run a record label. So when I made this really stupid decision to start one, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. I may have a better idea, but a lot of this is still just figuring out things as I go along. So that's the general caveat here is while I fucked up a lot, and there's probably more things that I don't even realize how I fucked up, it's very difficult to say this would have been the right choice or this is how you do this, because we don't know really. And if you disagree and think you know how to do this kind of thing, then please write in the comments, tell everyone. It's seriously, it's something that a lot of people can profit from. So today I want to focus more on things that I already at this point think I know what I did wrong, or maybe even why I did things the way I did them and how I would do them or would try to do them now that I have some kind of hindsight. Not very much though. So yeah, the first thing is promotion. I've talked about promotion before a little, and I'll probably do a dedicated video on promotion and the problems with promotion. But the main thing is, when I started, I basically just hand emailed promo downloads to magazines. I started collecting email addresses from writers and magazines. Most magazines have a submission email and you can just send stuff to them. And the thing is, I did that by hand, and this is an incredibly awkward way to do this. Now, you can obviously set up a newsletter through a site like MailChimp or whatever and hope that other writers, the writers of magazines, subscribe to it. But if you come out of nothing, you really have to be more aggressive and message people and ask message them on social media or whatnot and ask them if they want to review your stuff and how you can send it to them and so forth. It's the one thing that I, in hindsight, should have started doing more aggressively or more organized, more disciplined, I guess. Because while reviews are not as important as they used to be, they are still a way to get the name out, especially for bands that no one knows about, because it will at least show up on a Google search. Even if people don't pay that much attention to reviews anymore, it will at least show up. And yeah, I mean, I did that, but I did definitely grow that list of contacts not fast enough, not dedicated. I was probably not dedicated enough to do that, because it doesn't sound like much work, but it is very, very annoying, very tiring work to just sit down and message website after website after website with basically the same request. Or just sit down and scroll through website after website after website, look at their contacts and figure out the email address to send shit to. It's not fun to do that. And I am not very good at doing chores that are really literally just chores. It's something I'm just not very good at. So that's definitely the first thing that I could have started or done faster more. At this point, I think I have a relatively good grasp on it. Obviously, that list is still growing. My contact list is still growing, but I've started to have contacts, not only like the general emails to send to magazines. I started to, cultivate some kind of more personal connection with writers at different magazines. That's like very, very important at this point. And yeah, it's growing slowly. It's coming to a point where I think, like, when I look back at recent releases and I compare the number of reviews those got compared to the one time where I used an external PR company, those are no longer that different. Like, literally, there's no big difference at this point anymore. That's basically where I want to be. I mean, ideally, I want to get more of them and get more meaningful feedback, press feedback, obviously, always. But I'm reaching the point where I don't see a reason to hire an external company, because I can do more or less the same work myself. So that's definitely something I should have started or been more behind earlier. The second thing is to actually make a schedule when it comes to promoting stuff. And that's like something I learned, and like in theory I already knew that, but it's very difficult to stick to all these things if you're doing basically everything yourself. And that is, get out the promotion early enough. Send out a first email announcing the signing and a release date. Then shortly afterwards, send out the actual press kit with a download to magazines. Then when you put out a lyrics video or some other kind of video, put out another news blast stating that, then revealing the cover. Today's the attention span in today's media world is very, very short. So just putting out one news and then nothing is not going to cut it. I've gotten better at this, but once again, it's something that you just have to keep at. And if you're doing this basically on the side, as I am still doing, it can be sometimes very difficult to actually stick to that task, to that schedule, especially like making sure that your press kit hits magazines early enough, because it's always, you want to have the music in there. You want to have the cover artwork in there. Ideally, you also want the lyrics in there. And sometimes you don't have all of that early enough, or you want to put the lyrics into a more pleasing format or whatever. And there's always something that you could do to make the press kit more appealing, which will hopefully lead to more reviews. And it's very, very difficult to find that point where you say, fuck it, they're not going to get the lyrics because I don't have the lyrics right now, and I can wait another week or 2 weeks for the band to actually send me the lyrics. And that's going to be 2 weeks less for magazines to actually write reviews. And you want those reviews like around a week before the release, basically. So that's definitely something where I also made mistakes in the early days, where for whatever reason, we're going to come to the big issue there later on as well. I sent out press kits definitely too late to achieve a maximum of like to achieve the best results when it comes to number and quality of reviews. And I fucked that up, and I obviously sorry to the bands who got impacted by that, and I try to be better at this. I think I've gotten better at this for the last releases for Wanderer and Runemaster. It worked really well. Those two both like sold really well and also got amazing reviews and a lot of reviews. We'll see how it goes with Purification and Shardana. Shardana is going to be more difficult, I fear, for just a musical reason, because the music is far more outside the usual bounds of what the label has released so far. So some of my of the usual people that buy stuff or listen to the stuff that I release will probably not be like too happy with what they hear, whereas I need to figure out how to reach people who are maybe more into black metal or stuff like that, and that's going to be the big challenge there. But we'll see how that works. But actually having a plan, a schedule for a PR campaign and sticking to it is the second thing that I didn't really do too well at the beginning of the label. And as I said, I think I'm better at it. There's always room for improvement. The next part is cool graphics, and something that I sort of always knew but tried to ignore. And I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. We'll see some improvement here as well. Is visuals. Now, I'm not good at visuals, obviously. I do often have like an image in my mind or a concrete idea of what I want depicted or whatever. But obviously I can't do it. And a lot of media today is very, very visual. It's all about pictures, both how people look at stuff or what grabs people's attention, as well as algorithms. You can, look at Facebook, for example. If you don't add any kind of picture to your post, it will not get shown to as many people, because obviously the algorithm will prefer things with pictures because pictures get more interactions and so forth. It's that kind of thing. Same thing with these YouTube videos right now. I'm not good at editing videos, obviously. You know that. You can see that. It's all one shot. I just start talking, and then all I do is add a fade and I add the intro, and that's about it. The reason is I can't do it. So I have to find people to do these things for me, to make cool graphics for me, to edit the videos for me. Now, that is possible, but it means giving things out of my hands. And it means that if I want results in a way where I can actually demand results or set deadlines or whatever, I need to pay for it. And I can't. It's sad but true. But actually, yes, there's a lot of artists that get paid way too little. They still do. But I still can't afford that. It's like, if every graphic I want costs me $50, then I have to think about that. If every lyrics video I want to have made costs me $150 to $200, whatever. Those are just random numbers I'm throwing out right now. That is a lot of money if you don't make much money with the releases. And so I have to calculate really hard where to use graphics and how to implement it, because it's something that I cannot do myself. And that's maybe a disadvantage I have over some other people who run their one-man labels, because they can just sit down and do some stuff on Photoshop. I can't do that. Well, at least not in a way that will profit me. So yeah, that's another thing, that looking into how to implement graphics and how to get graphics done in a way that will maximize the effect of what I do is something that I probably underestimated at the beginning of this whole thing, because I didn't think it through. And it's something I'm working at. Even with the videos, I promise there will be better edited videos in the future. I do have plans for that. We'll see how that goes. That's another one. And then what else did I do wrong? Where else did I fuck up? I sort of underestimated like production times with vinyl at the beginning for all kinds of reasons, and I timed things very, very tight, and then it didn't work out, which is why the Wotan triple vinyl came out a couple of days too late. I mean, it came out a lot too late, then I got a new release date, and then for all kinds of issues, we didn't hit the amazing release date, which would have been Riddle of Steel Festival, so we could have sold the vinyls at the festival. That would have been perfect. They arrived a week after that, which sucks a lot. I mean, that probably lost me a lot of money. I mean, that was like the most expensive thing I've produced so far. It's really expensive, and the price I'm asking for it basically means that I need to sell all copies to break even, which is stupid. As I said, another mistake. I kind of needed to figure out how to calculate stuff, and asking 27 euros for a triple vinyl with a 20-page booklet is ridiculous, because the production price is almost 20 euros at this point. So you can sort of figure out how much I need to sell all these kind of things. Anyway, yes, now we come to the most important part, and that is underestimating the amount of work this whole thing actually needs. And it's a lot of like small things, and that's where it hits. It's like I'm basically a one-man band at this point. I do have friends that help me, obviously, when I ask them. There's Philip, who does the thumbnails for me. There will be very soon someone who will do some video editing for me. And there's other people that I know that did a lot of work in the past for me. But the basic thing is the actual, like, communication with bands, the planning, writing emails, sending out emails, contacting people, staying in contact with everyone in like the production, staying in contact with the pressing company and the band, and making sure everything flows smoothly. That's all me. And I at least try to finish that PhD, and do have other things I kind of do. And it means that sometimes I get very close to I don't want to use the word burnout, because people overuse all kinds of mental health words a lot of time. But I tend to sometimes overdo things, and because I'm really bad at saying no. And then I do all these things until I completely break down and am physically unable to read my emails and answer my emails. And that's something that I know is terrible, and it has hurt me in the past in all kinds of situations. And it definitely was an issue around last year, around this time. There was way too much going on, personal stuff, all kinds of things going on. And definitely, for example, the tour for Lords of the Trident suffered from that. And I feel terrible about that. And I try to do the best with my physical and mental capacities at the moment, but it's something I've tried to get a grip on, to make sure I, schedule things in a way that I can do them, and try to communicate to people that I need to slow down things, because doing everything at the same time is maybe a bit too much at the moment. But it's something I had to learn, unfortunately, the hard way around. It's I know I should talk to this person today, and I should do this and this and this and this, and then I just sit down and listen to 12 hours of Malazan Book of the Fallen audiobook instead, because it's the only thing I'm mentally capable at that point. So that's another thing that impacted a lot of stuff last year, because it was a very stressful year overall. I think I'm in a better place mentally right now, and don't have that kind of issue. There's still obviously stuff that could go better, but that's just things that's gonna work out themselves. Another thing is being more confident. I wasn't too confident with things I did last year, and the whole, what I said before, I do start things, and then when I've started them, I'm trying to figure out how to do them while I'm doing them. And that's not a good approach, but it's something that has worked well for me in the past. But I sometimes get a lot of self-doubts and then don't do things, and then I'm meandering around and whatnot and whatnot. And that's something that slowed me down last year in some situations where I basically already knew where I was going, but I was questioning these things too much. Now, questioning things is really good. It's important. But on the other hand, knowing like your limitations when it comes to money and the things you're capable of is very important. And when you know those things, then it sometimes is better to just go ahead and trust your gut feeling and say, yeah, it feels right to do it this way. And that's, in the end, that's what I did with all the things, but it took me sometimes too long to actually trust my intuition, I would say. And that's something I think I've gotten better at over the last year. It's probably also about the whole situation that, like, when I started this whole label thing, I was more focused on just see how this goes. At this point, I think I'm more, how can I say this? I think it's more a make it or break it kind of situation at this point. I know I have about a year to make get my life in order and get everything working. And the label is a big part of this at this point. So I'm willing to risk more, I would say, because I know it's a chance I have, and it's a thing that is very dear to my heart. It's very much something I want to do. So I'm probably more willing to go with my intuitions and actually risk things at this point. We'll see how good that is when we talk about how it all went down next year, but it's definitely something that probably cost me definitely some time and a lot of nerves last year, was hesitating too much about things. And I guess those are like the biggest things, the biggest mistakes I made at the beginning, apart from like literally not choosing the right company for something, all these, where you can then comment and tell me what I did wrong and how marketing actually works and all these kind of things. If you know, please let me know. If you have other comments or just want to tell me how terrible I handle things, that's perfectly fine. Write it in the comments. If you have other things you want to know or want to tell me, write it in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, tell everyone about it. Things will get better in the future, I promise. There will be more visually attractive, not too visually attractive because I will still be in those videos, but there will be more going on in videos in the future, I promise that. And until then, I'll be, going to Belgium for the week, and we'll see how things go. I'll probably be at an actual concert next week, like on Saturday, and see Atlantean Codex again, and we'll see how that goes. In these Corona days, it's something we need to figure out, how to do concerts, and I'm willing to go, boldly go where no one's gone before, which is Leipzig, figure out how concerts in Corona days actually might work. So yeah, and have a great week. Let me know what you think, and cheers.